there, ref. That's he got the ball.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur, and in this video, we are going to be reacting to Goal.com's NXGN list. Each year, by the way, everybody, they do release a list, what they consider to be the top 50 young players or Wonderkids in world football. These are young players, usually teenagers, in fact, almost always teenagers, who have impressed for their clubs at a young age and are poised to potentially break out as future first-team players and future first-team stars around European as well as world football. And Spurs, by the way, everybody, in case you didn't know already, have 5 players in that list. We have Yang Min-Hyeok ranked 43rd with his time at QPR, and since his move to Tottenham Hotspur, Luka Vuskovic, who's out on loan in Belgium as well. Mikey Moore is ranked 22nd, Lucas Bergvall 16th, and Archie Gray 13th. So Daniel Levy must be happy seeing some of his young players and young talents being featured in this list. But Dave and I, we're going to be giving our reactions to this. We're going to be kind of talking about whether some of these rankings are deserved, maybe some of them are unfair. And I think we'll just get started off with Yang Min-Hyeok here. I'll give you kind of some stats just quickly on him. He's had 8 matches played so far for QPR, 2 of them being starts, 1 assist versus Derby County. He's 18 years of age, so he's still quite young. But I don't know if we know a whole lot about Yang Min-Hyeok yet. So it's kind of hard to know whether I can argue whether that ranking is justified or fair or not. I think he's a dynamic, tricky winger, plays on the right and the left. He's potentially being lined up to be a Sonny replacement in a multitude of ways. I just say kind of watch this space, Dave, when it comes to Yang Min-Hyeok. I can't really give a whether to say it's harsh or fair or anything like that. I'm glad to see him inside the top 50. Maybe that is a sign that he is, in fact, good enough, to be in this privileged group. But with Yang Min-Hyeok, I'm not sure if there's a whole lot to say yet.
I would say out of all the players on that list, I think he's got the longest way to go in terms of, really fulfilling that potential. Now, he has performed pretty well at QPR. They've been very, very happy with what they've seen. But if you look at the likes of Lucas Bergvall, he's already had a lot of minutes in the Premier League. Archie Gray has had a lot of minutes. Mikey Moore has played. Luka Vuskovic, we'll get on to him, very highly rated. Yang Min-Hyeok has a bit of a different journey, Jack. He's come all the way from the K-League, adapt to a different culture, a complete different style and physicality of football than maybe what he's used to. Now, it is worth noting that this kid, I think, was the youngest kid ever to play in the Korean League, in the K-League, and then that's where he's garnered his reputation, and that's ultimately what made Spurs pounce. There was a lot of teams interested in him at the time. Now, of course, when we signed him, it's great for Spurs in terms of merch and revenue sales and match day earnings and all that sort of stuff. But, many people when we first signed him, Jack, were sitting there asking, why is he not getting minutes? Why aren't we seeing him? Why aren't we seeing him? I think we could have probably played him in the Tamworth game, to be quite honest with you. But apart from that, you look at him around all the other players in around the team, he did look like a kid in a man's world. And I think the loan move was right. But time will tell with Yang.
Yeah, and just the fact he's even in this list is good. And Dave did bring up that QPR fans are happy, and the fact that he is the youngest player to feature in the K-League is always a good sign that the kid must be very talented. Moving on now to Luka Vuskovic, Dave, 26th. Now, this is one I'm really excited about in the future. He's 18 years of age. He's had 28 matches played in the Belgian league with Westerlo, and he's had 2,400 minutes at least played in that league, which is plenty of minutes. He's on course to hit 3,000 minutes if they have enough games in him. 7 goals and 1 assist. You would think he's like a midfielder or striker with those sort of types of stats. And we know that he's supposed to be very good on the ball. I remember we did that highlight reaction ourselves. So, him, even with his time at Dinamo Zagreb and the youth academy there. Hajduk Split, and the youth academy there. Dave and I, big fans of the Itches. We know that they're very good technicians. They're very talented. And he's huge as well, right? Like the guy's like 6'4", 6'5", or something like that, and only 18 years of age. So I wonder if he's even done growing. Maybe he's going to be like NBA level height or something like that as a center back. Like I said, brilliant in the air, very good on the ball. And I just say, this 26 rating, I would imagine is actually quite fair. And the one thing I would ask is, guys like maybe Tyler Dibbling, players like that. I know they have, a lot of minutes, maybe in the Premier League, but I just wonder if Luka Vuskovic, the fact that it's 26, I kind of feel like it's a bit unfair. Some of the players that I saw listed, ahead of him had never heard of really before. And a lot of them didn't even play very much this year for their club. So they're still kind of living off reputation. Whereas with Vuskovic, he has a lot of minutes, under his belt, and he's shown that he can perform both in the Polish league at like 16 years of age and then is dominating in the Belgian league, which is a respectable league to be dominating in at 17 years of age. So, Dave, what do you think of Vuskovic? And also, do you think 26 is fair to him? I think it is unfair.
Look, I can understand the rating, Jack, because in general, defenders are less recognized than maybe your midfielders and your attackers. So I can understand why he's a bit lower down on the list. However, what I will say is he's the one that I'm really excited to see when he arrives this summer, what he can do. He's already 6'4" at the age of 17, and he's still growing, which is absolutely scary. And we paid 12 million for this guy. People forget, we sanctioned big money on this guy for a 16-year-old. And at the time, Man City and PSG were already circling for his signature as well. And we've done really well. He got into the Zagreb team at the age of 16, never looked back since, even before he turned 16. When he was 14, 15, they wanted to give him a senior debut, but the league rules wouldn't allow it. Then we ended up signing him. He ended up moving then out to the Polish league, ripped that up. Michael gave us great details about that.
Right.
And this year at Westerlo, Jack, he's one of the star attractions at the football club this year. You're looking at a centre-back that, okay, he's not the quickest, but I've always argued with you, Jack, that football brain makes up for pace. And I think he's got abundance. Like you said, he's very good on the ball, but he's also a physical presence in a man's league at both ends of the box, which I think becomes very, very useful for Tottenham. Now, I know out in Croatia, they're very happy with him. They're saying that basically he's a player that comes through every once in 100 years. That's how happy they are with him, Jack. And he has recently been called up to the Croatia under-21 team. He's had a couple of appearances for them at 17 years of age, and they reckon he's not too far off getting into that senior team either. The one thing they did highlight in Croatia with the under-21s is that he's not the most vocal on the pitch, and that's one area where they really want to establish himself. And I would argue they're probably trying to make him establish himself like that because they're looking at him as potentially a future captain for the Croatian national team. But he's only 17 going into under-21s football. I can understand why maybe he's a bit shy. But what I will say is we've got one physical specimen on our hands here, one very, very good player. The only thing is that people keep highlighting is the lack of pace. But like I said, I don't think that would be too much of a problem, Jack. And I think Spurs fans will be very excited about him. This kid, in terms of goals, I've seen him score goals from outside the box. I've seen him score overheads, towering headers, for a centre-back. This kid is going to excite many, many people. Now, I would urge that maybe the first year there's going to be a couple of mistakes here and there, just like we've seen with Bergvall and stuff like that. But this kid, I'm pretty sure, will develop and go on to leave a mark on the game. And it's worth noting, he also comes from 4 generations of footballers in their family. And they all say he's the one that is going to make it big. And I would argue, the reason why I like Croatians as well, Jack, is you look at the ones that have been at Tottenham in my lifetime, the likes of your Luka Modric's, your Kranjcars, your Charlukas, your Perisic's. We've been able to rely on every single one of them players. You know exactly what you're going to get. There's no egos about them like a James Maddison and Johnsons and stuff like that. They understand the work ethic and the grind to get there and to maintain it. So I'm really excited for Luka Vuskovic.
Just to add to also maybe the whole pace question. When you think about Croatians, they're not usually regarded as like the most athletic of players. They're usually regarded as like really highly skilled technical players, and that's what you're going to be getting here. 100%. And so that's what you're going to get with Vuskovic. So I'm not really that worried about the pace question. And also at that young of an age, is he really supposed to be like the fastest player on the pitch? I'm not too sure either. Like maybe that might end up developing a bit later on. And also I know in the case of the Croatian national team, there isn't, except for Gvardiol, there isn't like a plethora of really great center backs that are coming through. So I wonder if he's going to get some early, national team minutes at some point at a young age, at like maybe when he turns 18 or 19, and they start giving him those type of opportunities, which could only benefit us in the future. But maybe time to move on to the Mikey Moore sensation, Dave. He got a very, very nice 22nd rating. I don't know whether it's harsh or fair. Maybe you'll come in on this one. 12 matches played, but only 493 minutes played in total in all competitions for Spurs. So it's been a lot of features, but not really any starts or anything like that for the Mikey Moore star. He's had 3 goals and assists in all competitions. By the way, everybody, he only has 1 fewer assist than Brennan Johnson has all season in all competitions. And again, he's only played 493 minutes. So, Dave, I mean, what do you make of this rating? Still 17 years of age. Is 22nd harsh, fair? What do you make of that with Mikey Moore?
Well, I asked the question, Jack, how many in your lifetime and anybody else out there listening today, how many 17-year-olds have you seen break into the Tottenham team and be given a debut at the age of 17? It's very rare, even in my lifetime. So I think that speaks of the talent. And look, this guy is highly regarded, Jack. I think last year for the under-18s, 25 goal contributions in something like 16 games or something like that, which is absolutely insane. He could play off the left, play off the right. I've watched him play at number 10. I've even watched him play up front. When he goes away with the England underage teams, he's the best player in that team. He's the one that you see all the highlights. Go back to last year when they were out in that tournament and he took on France. It was a single man show, Jack. It was a solo effort. Speaks to the talent. And I would argue he probably has the hardest, not journey. I think Kim Min-Hyeok has the hardest journey, but I think he has the hardest job in terms of really establishing himself in this Tottenham team, because we know at Tottenham, we don't like giving our academy players an opportunity. We always look to bring players in from elsewhere and give them their opportunities first. But I would argue from the glimpses we've seen of Mikey Moore, we've seen a player that can terrorize fullbacks, a player that can cross the ball, cut in, deliver good shots and stuff like that. And I'd argue if Timo Werner took some of them chances more late on the player earlier on the season, he probably would still be in the first team right now, I would argue. But for me, I think we've got one special talent on our hands, and I think it's one that we need to develop. Now, there are rumours lately that he's been unhappy that he has been put back down with the under-21s. I think that's harsh on the kid. I think he's earned the right to stay up around the senior team. I do know he's training with the senior team, and he has been since 2023, which speaks of the talent. And there's everyone in and around the club is well aware of the talent that this kid possesses and how good he can be. And providing, he stays away from long-term injuries and stuff like that, I think this is a kid that is going to reach that talent, Jack. He's absolutely brilliant. 17-year-old stepping up, playing in the Premier League, the Europa League, terrorizing fullbacks, getting people subbed because they can't handle him. What a special player.
I mean, the fact that he is also ahead of Tyler Dibbling, Southampton's very talented youngster, in the rankings, again, says a whole lot about what other people that aren't Spurs fans do think of this kid. He is very well regarded, so that is something to take note of. And also what Dave brought up with Timo Weenie missing chances. If Timo Weenie did put in those chances, perhaps he would already have more assists than Brennan Johnson has all season, and again, playing less than 500 minutes in total as well, for Mikey Moore star. So that's something also to consider. Good point.
Just on Mikey Moore, just from people in and around Tottenham this season, this is a couple of words. This is from Postecoglou earlier on in the season. Says he's got so much growth and he wants to learn. I couldn't be happy with him, and I'm very pleased he's a part of our football club. James Madison, didn't he? Says sometimes you forget he's only 17.
Neymar,
and
labeled him
Neymar. So it shows that even he's got the respect of his peers. Someone like Madison who's been in the England team, they're all well aware of how good this kid can be. I just hope that we don't mess up his development when we develop him right, because one thing I've been screaming for, and this is why I think it's very important with someone like him and maybe Jamie Donnelly, Jack, is we need homegrown players in that squad that love this club like a fan, that will carry that dressing room in the future. So we need him in there. And what I would argue is I think he's a player that can also grab the game by the scruff of the neck and drag people forward, which I don't think we've got a lot of in this Tottenham team.
He's tricky, he's clever, he's intelligent. He has all the markings of a very good player. I wish maybe Ange did give him some more opportunities, but we know he's also had some complications behind the scenes when it came to injuries this year, which maybe has held him back. To be slightly fair to Ange, but I do think he could have given him more minutes at other periods. Let's go on to the guys that we have seen a lot of this year. Plenty of people have given their opinions on them, as have Dave and I. But Lucas Bergvall has been ranked 16th. He's had 1,500 minutes played at least in all competitions for us. He is 19 years old now by this point. He's had 1 goal and 1 assist in all competitions. Future Spurs number 6 or number 8, Dave, for Lucas Bergvall? That's kind of the big question mark of the last couple of weeks. What's his future position? What's his best position?
Do you know what, Jack? I don't really want to... Look, he's a midfielder, right? That's one thing we know. He's a centre midfielder. I don't want to put him into a 6 or an 8, because the reality is, I've always argued, if you're a good player, you can play in either role in that midfield. A midfielder should always be, good at reading the game and getting around, making tackles and being tough, which he's demonstrated since he's first arrived, but also very good on the ball, which he's demonstrated at times. Now, don't get me wrong. It hasn't been an easy journey for the kid. He started off in pre-season, looked great, garnered a great reputation, but then we've seen him in games, for the first maybe 3 to 4 months of the season where he did look like a boy in a man's world. He did look like every bit of a Sweden second division player stepping up into, a team like Tottenham Hotspur. But what I would say is he has gotten better and better and better as the season has gone on. So much so, he's the first name in the midfield right now. He's displaced the likes of Basuma. He's basically said to Tottenham, "It's okay, sell him. I'm the future.
Yeah,
It's in my,
good
I can
point.
take this." He's displaced. You would argue probably Papa Matasar as well, who was the shining light from last season
All
to
of
a
a
large
sudden,
degree.
yeah.
So I think he's had a very good campaign. And one thing I would say, Jack, is the mentality of the kid is absolutely exceptional. And this one thing I probably haven't given enough credit for. He has made a lot of mistakes this season in general, but it's how he bounces back. And every time he bounces back better and better and better. And for me, I really like what I see from him. It's the industrious nature of the work kid, the willingness to get around, tackle people, but then also on the ball, he's got a good passing range to a large degree. So very excited. And let's not forget, he turned down Barcelona to join Tottenham Hotspur. So that speaks of the talent that we are after getting, that we are after signing. You would argue if he was at Barcelona, potentially probably would be more up that list, maybe inside the top 15, top 10.
I've also heard as well that he's like Kulusevski, where he spends extra hours in the gym, compared to maybe some other players, in the squad who should probably be spending some more time in the gym, lifting weights and, pushing their own fitness levels. So credit to the kid for at that age already being able to do that. Moving on then to Archie Gray, ranked 13th in this 50-man list of young, talented players. Archie Gray, we've had a lot of praise for him. 19 years of age. He's shown that he can play all around, from fullback, center back, just hasn't really been given that opportunity in midfield. So we just don't really know yet what he's capable of. But I think we have seen that he's a very intelligent player, knows how to get stuck in, has a good sort of head on his shoulders, seems to be very humble, kind of similar to what we said about Lucas Bergvall. No real ego about him or anything like that, which is nice to see. Seems to be a really nice guy as well, from what we can tell. And I think he's done very, very well with what's been asked of him by Ange Postecoglou this year. Seems to be maybe the future Spurs number 6, of some kind. He looks like a guy that wants to play a little bit deeper because, like I said, he knows how to get stuck in. Dave, I mean, it's just more, we just want to see more of Archie Gray and see him eventually be moved into that midfield.
Do you know what, Jack? You said he's got a very mature head on young shoulders, and I just wonder how much does his father, his uncle, and his grandfather being all involved
Yeah,
in the
good point.
game have to play on that. The fact that he's not getting distracted by the bright lights, of London, the lifestyle, etc. He just
Yeah.
seems like a kid that is just fully focused on one goal and one goal only. And I actually think that replicates itself on the pitch. Let's not forget, we signed this kid for massive money in the summer. You're talking, what was it, £40 million, I think? Absolutely huge money. And with that comes certain level of expectations, and I'd argue he's probably exceeded many people's expectations of what he was going to deliver this season. Let's not forget, hasn't gone swimmingly for him either. I think for the first 2 months of the season, he found himself on the periphery of the team. But with injuries, he got his opportunity, and he has never looked back since. Like you said, he's played left back, right back, and both sides at centre back. And I'd argue has looked better than some of his peers in them positions, made less mistakes than some of his peers in them position, who comes with big reputations on higher wages, etc., etc. Now, the fact that he hasn't played, he's played a couple of minutes here and there in midfield. The fact that he hasn't generally played in midfield, I actually think it reflects well on Archie Gray to a large degree, because many people are saying we're playing him out of his position. But why was he the midfielder that Postecoglou picked to play across that back line more than your Bentancurs, your Basumas, your Sars, your Bergvalls even? Why was he the one picked? Because he clearly can do it.
Yeah.
That's why. And I think it
Trusted.
shows actually to the talent of him. Many people are questioning now, is he a centre back? Is he a full back? Or is he a midfielder? I think it really speaks to the talent of him that he was the one trusted within that. And for an 18-year-old to step in and be one of our most consistent players this season, one of our most reliable players on the football pitch, let's not forget we've seen glimpses of him getting forward and putting that assist in for one of the Europa League goals as well. I think we've got one real talent on our hands, and one that I think I'm really excited to see. When I was doing my research when we first signed him, in and around the England camps, they have really high hopes for this kid. They really think he is going to go on and reach a certain level. And I also think he's got the right grounding around him to reach that level, which I think is very, very important, because sometimes you see with these young players, they get a lot so soon, and them and the people around them don't really know how to handle the situation, whereas him and his camp will, which I think will stand to him reaching the very top of the game.
Very good points about that with the people around him and his crew. Everybody, let us know what you think of our sort of summary of this list and our kind of thoughts and feedback on it. Let us know if you think some of these rankings were unfair. I think a couple of them were, and then maybe some of them were pretty fair for the most part. But let us know, please. And also smash the like button. Consider becoming a member of the channel as well if you do want to support us any further. And we'll see you for some future content. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.